Welcome to Wisdom. I'm TJ McLaughlin. Mass shootings. So, first of all, forget about the political realm and what's going on in the political realm regarding the shootings, because it's just, in the political realm, it's very narrow, very narrowly focused on how it might advantage or disadvantage either side of the aisle. That's all it is. Guns, you have to get rid of guns. Or, right to bear arms. A little more than that going on. Guns, in Switzerland, everybody has a gun in Switzerland, right? They don't have the shootings. They don't have those shootings. So it's really not about guns. And it is in the Constitution, the right to bear arms. And it also says, the Second Amendment, which I don't hear a lot about, is the formation or well-regulated militia. That's the thing. That's what it's all about. Having the ability for citizens to form a militia, if necessary, to protect themselves from an overbearing government, or a government who wants to totally control them. Want to get rid of the guns. I know that the left, they want to get rid of your guns. They just want the government to have guns. And the left, they get all worked up about this gun violence, they're wringing their hands. Oh, gun violence, oh. In the meantime, they defund the police. And what does that mean? More gun violence. So, it's politics stuff. Oh, it's painful. But as I say, there's a lot more going on with this gun violence, with these mass shootings. Part of it is the influence of. Now, bear with me here, because I'll explain it all. It just makes a lot of sense. The influence of technologies on our psyches, our behavior, our perceptions. Marshall McLuhan wrote about this, and Alvin Toffler wrote about this. And you can see it very dramatically in this one example. The development and production of Boeing 777 during the 1980s, I think it was. And they have their engineers at Boeing, and they design all the parts of the plane, and so they design some component or other, and they send it to the assembly line, or an assembly line, and the assembly line workers, put it together down the line, put it all together, and then when it's done, the engineers come down and look at it, inspect it, see if there's any flaws or anything. And they find some, and they go back and redesign it, and they send it back to the assembly line, and the assembly line workers put it together on the assembly line, and then the same thing. Engineers come down and inspect it. So this manager of this 777 project, he got the bright idea that, why don't the assembly line workers, if they find a problem, if there's some parts not fitting or something correctly, or the little things are off kilter or whatever, why don't they just alert the engineers about that, and then the engineers will come down instead of and seeing it there, instead of having put it together, you know, before the engineers come down to inspect it. Yeah, why not? Why not? Saves time, saves money. It's a no-brainer. But nobody ever thought of that during the machine age. The machine age was, not the mechanical age, the machine age came before the electronic information age of computers. Computer is very different than a mechanical machine. So, that's what dominated our perceptions of machines. And in the machine, everything, this part does that part does this, and there's no interaction or anything. And that's how we perceived. That's how we perceived things. And the information thing came along, and it just, why don't we just, do it this way instead of that way? Ooh. So it's definitely changes our perceptions. One of the other things that Marshall McLuhan wrote was his most famous book, I guess, is The Medium is the Message. And he wrote about that. He also predicted. He pretty much predicted. I mean, he was prior to this whole internet thing and everything, prior to that. And he predicted it. He pretty much predicted that there would be such a thing. And he predicted that these information processing systems would, electronic information systems would bring about tribalism. And I think that's pretty much what's happening. It's happening now. Tribalism, this tribe and that tribe. You have this tribe on the left and this tribe on the right, and that's it. There's no common ground. There's nothing there. Just this or that. So there's that to consider. And also, it seems that the public and our private selves, public and private, has somehow blended together. There used to be a very sharp definition between public and the private, and it seems like we don't really have kind of private lives that we used to have. We just go out somewhere, have a dinner, and that would be it. Have that between you and your family or wherever. Now, we're at this restaurant. We have to tell everybody, we've got to get on Twitter or Facebook. Hey, I'm at this restaurant, and look, this is what I'm eating. This is my meal, and just says that private and public kind of thing is just disappearing. The difference between the public and private, everything's public now. To publicize everything, to publicize what we're doing, what we're eating, where we are. And I also think that impacts individuals, private selves and public selves, private selves. If you don't have a private self, then you have to act out everything publicly. See a lot of that going on. And before, there were people who were disgruntled, who were angry, who had been bullied before, and there weren't these mass shootings. Because I think people had private self. They had a private self where they could go just kind of fantasize. maybe fantasize about, technical thing, fantasize about taking revenge, getting revenge for their mistreatment. They can fantasize about it, and that would be enough somehow. So their private self, or maybe they could imagine in the future, their life in the future, where they would um, be in positions of power, and they could take revenge that way. The future. So I don't think they. A lot of times I don't think we have that kind of luxury. You know, we live in cyberspace. Our existence is in cyberspace, and that's public space. And you see these shooters who put it online, put their intentions online. This Parkland shooter in Florida, he he posted something, I guess it was on Facebook, where he says, I want to become a school shooter. It's like it was a career. It was his career choice or something, you know. So and most of the shooters, I think, that kind of thing is out there. They do that. They publicize their intentions. So there's that to consider. So, well, what do we do about this? What do we do about this? The other thing about the electronic information age technologies is they tend toward decentralization. And they empower the individual. Marshall McLuhan talked about that, and Alvin Toffler talked about that, wrote about it in Future Shock, I think it was. Empowers individuals. Individuals who can broadcast to the world like I'm doing now, from my apartment, broadcasting to the world. Or you bloggers who publish to the world from their desktops. That's empowering. Doesn't matter if anybody reads your blog or watches your videos. You have the power to do that. You're empowered to do that. You feel as a center of power. Hackers. That's a great example. Hackers. Centers of power. And the real dark side of that center of power, being centers of power, are the shooters. And that's has a lot to do with, I think, with the shooters and things like that. What can we do about that? Well, it's all things with decentralization and being centers of power and how to rearrange things, reconfigure the social system to be able to deal with that. And I'll be talking about that in subsequent videos. So, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. And I hope you tune in next time.